Well, joining us at Meta's BKC office today, we have Arun Srinivas, who's the country head and managing director of Meta India. Arun, thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And I must tell you, I have spoken to you several times, but this is my first conversation with you as the Meta India head. It's been almost a year since you, assumed this role. What have been, the key milestones in the past 12 months? A very interesting year for the industry and for technology as well.
No, thank you so much, Ibani. Always a pleasure talking to you. I think it's been a very interesting year, so I think we're at the forefront of I won't even use the word technology breakthroughs because every day there's a new breakthrough.
Sure.
But, and I'm sure you've also heard this word AI a gazillion times.
Right.
But I think we are reaping, lots of the benefits that I would say AI technologies give us. And that's really what's at the forefront of what's been happening behind the scenes, at Meta over the last 1 year. So I think we see the benefits of AI across everything that we do. So be it on the users, on the creator side, be it on Reels in terms of the content it serves, or be it on the glasses that, we've just launched. So I guess it's been an exciting, an AI first year for us.
Right. And what has been, the highlight of it, if you can help us understand that, according to you as a leader, what was like an unexpected surprise that, worked very well for Meta in India in the past 1 year?
See, I don't think I can pinpoint one, but let me, walk you through the top, 2 or 3 things that's really, I would say, changed.
Right.
So one is, with AI, I think the targeting is becoming more and more sharpened. It's more like what I call bullseye. Sure. So we are able to see when Facebook and Instagram started a couple of, Facebook started a couple of decades ago, you had to literally choose your interest. So let's say I'm interested in travel. I know you're, let's say, interested in running and in dogs. So you sort of tick those for you to get the right feed. Sure. Over time, I guess with the advancements in technology, advancements in the AI, last 3-4 years, for example, we've seen 40% of the content on Instagram and Facebook actually being served by basis how you dynamically, browse. Yeah. And you start sending, therefore, or seeing more travel videos when you're, in the mood for seeing them, and it knows that you like travel, so it serves you that. Right. I think with our latest model, MuseSpark, we are trying to actually apply context. So I'll give you an example. You have a multitude of interests. I have a multitude of interests. I don't want to be seeing only travel, on my feed all the time. So if I'm in the mood for cricket, for example, if it's cricket season, I get more cricket videos. The moment, let's say, the season is over and I switch it to something else. So it's more in the context we are in. Or equally, I'll give an example. Each of us may look for deals at different times. So if it knows that, okay, Arun is buying something in a sale, send more offers. So I think it's, so we're trying to now actually understand the context, which is what I think MuseSpark is all about, empowering our algorithms so that it serves a better content, better ads, more targeted content, targeted ads. And I guess that's really what's driving, I would say, a lot of our business at this point of time.
Yeah, and we know that India is a key market for Meta when it comes to, Instagram or Reels for that matter, or even when it comes to WhatsApp and WhatsApp for business. So tell us more, what have been some of the expectations from you, from the India market, and how have they been served over the past 1 year?
So as I mentioned, I think, we are definitely a, large, priority for the global Meta organization. Right. Obviously, India has our largest set of users across each of our apps, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. We've also very large and the largest on Threads and Meta AI, which are actually newbies in the family stable at this point of time.
Right.
So Indians, for example, again, are the largest users at this point of time on Meta AI. And our vision, for example, is to deliver personal super intelligence over time. So today, thanks to the Meta AI icon, either in the in Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, or equally on the standalone app, Indians are obviously taking to it like there's no tomorrow. So asking things like, this is what's there in my refrigerator, what do I make, what's the recipe, or equally, if I have to travel for the weekend to, let's say, Lonavala, what should I be buying, or what's the temperature there? So you have all kinds of queries coming, right? Sure. So we are clearly seeing that, our user base is obviously taking to each of our algorithms or equally each of our new features. So we've constantly innovated across our apps. So Reels is, for example, the focus, I'd say, at this point of time. Indians love video. I would actually say that Reels is, quote unquote, the new television or your personal TV. So it's always on the go. You watch it. So there have been, significant advancements both on the user side, on the creator side. So I guess our focus has been in really driving these features. For example, again, at the AI intersection I just spoke about, we've launched features where now creators can not just post in their local language, but can dub the reel into 6 Indian languages. Right from Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, Kannada and Marathi. So, and outside of English, of course. So, your reach starts becoming more national. So with all of this, I think, as I said, our focus has been to really drive each of these priorities across each of these apps.
Right. Arun, I'm coming back to like one of the studies that, you're releasing with Kantar and Ipsos, which says that 90% of daily video usage is, up. The usage is up by 97%. So does that mean that, Instagram, which started off as like an images platform, is no longer about images? Because I'm also seeing experts, and creators on Instagram coming up and saying that, oh, images are back again and carousel is what is getting you more views. So where are we headed?
See, I think it's, it's no surprise that we love video. We love to watch more than we read or write, and that trend continues. It's always been about this, right? So whether it's movies, whether it's sports. So I think Indians really in huge numbers, obviously throng and collectively watch. So there is almost like a watch party, if I can say this, even before the original watch party existed here, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, they've taken to Reels. Reels is 97% of Indians today watch video on Meta almost on a daily basis.
Right.
And this is, more than... there's a 13 percentage point lead over television, for example. And if I ask you this, what do you think the rural, behavior is on this?
Right. I've read the report. It's 94% increase in the content of reel consumption is
it's not increase actually. So 94% of rural India actually watches reels on a daily basis.
Right.
And the number is again significant. The gap versus television actually increases there, and the gap versus equally other digital platforms is, by 12% in urban, the gap is actually larger by more than 20% in rural.
Right.
So whichever way you look at it, I think in some sense, reels is, the new personal television or the new personal screen.
So I'm going to pick on something that you just said, which is two things. Like, 97% of Indians watch reels on daily basis, and 94% of the rural consumer watches reels. What does it mean for advertisers and brands and the way in which they are reaching out to these consumers in the country?
So one is, I think, the reason we are seeing this is that, entertainment is personal, it's accessible, it's individually curated. So, for example, let's say even in my family, like obviously the content could be diverse between my daughter, my wife and myself, right? The same is true. Why should the rural Indian, everyone should only watch one screen collectively at an appointed time of 8 or 9 p.m. So I think the device is there through the day. They take snacks, sized bites. Right. They watch on the go. They watch, during breaks for leisure whenever they want to. And are equally, I would say, up to date in terms of what's trending, what's culture across the country. They're no different from, obviously, what, let's say, their brethren in Mumbai or Delhi browse. I think so. Therefore, what it means, to your question on advertising is how do brands adapt now? Yeah. So one is what we're seeing on our platforms is that there's a lot of creator content. Right. Like I mentioned earlier, with all of these AI technologies, it's only going to increase in terms of how they leverage the tools. Creators come across as authentic, realistic, relatable, and almost have a one-on-one conversation. I'm sure if you're doom scrolling, you'll also notice this. And they're almost an expert in their genre, be it about food, be it about culture, be it about travel, or even what to buy, for example. So we are seeing brands leverage a lot more, of creators. For example, Meesho, I think, works with thousands of creators and has even segmented, large markets like UP into different districts and really sign up fashion creators from each of them to almost explain what is there. recently, I had a meeting with, let's say, one of our largest insurance players in the country, which is Policy Bazaar, and even they were talking about the same thing, that if they get a creator which actually talks about a hospital in Meerut, it becomes far more relatable, for the user in Meerut than, just have a generic creator.
Right.
So I think the question is, how do brands understand these trends, whether it's a tier 2, tier 3 town, or whether it's rural, maybe run different creatives, to really amplify their proposition. That's really what I think the future is.
How do they make this purchase journey? How do you make the purchase journey of a brand or a consumer, for example, seamless? How do you help close that loop, considering also that, you have platform like WhatsApp to close the conversation?
See, today I think, let me put it this way, most discovery across the world happens on Meta platforms. In fact, there are studies which show that 9 out of 10 new brands or new trends are discovered on Meta. So there is a big awareness, play, if I can say that, where our platforms help you see a new brand. I'm sure the last time you bought something from a new brand would have been on Instagram.
Absolutely.
And equally, what happens is once you see it, I think what people do is, once they see it 3-4 times, it definitely piques their curiosity to say, okay, what is it? So you may click and you discover more in terms of the full catalog or what the prices are. And there are obviously, basis the business objectives and where they want to check out, you can either check out instantly there, with your own microsite, which sits on top inside the Instagram app, or equally take you to WhatsApp, for example, or to the website. So again, this is configured by each business in terms of how they are set up. And so checkout and commerce happens there. Equally, I'll give an example, coming back to the same conversation we just had on insurance. So insurance is not an instant. Sometimes, yes, if you want to just buy travel insurance, you may click and buy. But sometimes you may want an advisor, you may want to compare policies, etc. You can always schedule a call. So again, there are, avenues like WhatsApp where it's a lead and, you obviously have a follow-up with the business, be it for a credit card, be it for where you need some documentation and stuff. So we have seen cars, etc. get transacted on Instagram.
Wow.
So people obviously discover new cars. So most of the largest OEMs are on IG, and they run campaigns where, again, you can book an appointment or a test drive.
Right.
So depending on, I guess, the nature of the product, so you could obviously buy a shirt immediately, but with the car, I'm sure it'll take some more time before quick commerce delivers that to you.
Right. And also last year has been interesting in terms of hardware launches, because you also got the Oakley Meta Houston to the country. There was, of course, a big campaign around the IPL that we saw with Virat Kohli wearing the Oakley Vanguard, which were launched last year at Meta Connect. We are yet to see display in the India market, but hopefully it will come soon to India. How are consumers buying some of the Meta hardware in the country?
No, all I can say is our response has been tremendous. We are selling millions of glasses across the world.
Right.
India was launched, as you know, last year. We launched Meta Ray-Bans Gen 1. We followed that with Gen 2, and then the Oakleys, both Houston and Vanguard. The Virat campaign has gone exceptionally well. In fact, today our CMO just posted that it has over 1 billion views in one of the most watched reels. So clearly tells you that, one is thanks to obviously his power and the celeb that he is, and equally the product. Right. I think it was a perfect fit in terms of how the product is being used. So I think we think India is obviously a critical market for this. We see a lot of interest, and this is available, as you know, in many of the eyewear shops as well as online. So we clearly see huge traction for this and a bright future for all things glasses.
Right. At one point in time over the past couple of months, we have seen how the usage of, Instagram has increased. And at the other end, we are seeing these voices speaking up against the addictive nature of social media platform. In fact, countries like Australia are effectively evaluating banning social media for the younger generation, for the teenagers. Many states in India are also contemplating that. Are you concerned about that, given the fact that India is such a big market for Meta, and, if that happens, will there be a domino effect with other states also doing something similar?
See, I think we have always complied with the laws and the regulations in every country that we operate.
Right.
I'm sure the the right authorities of the government who is looking at this, and they will obviously decide what the right course of action for the country is. As far as we are concerned, we are taking a lot of proactive steps. So we make sure that our platforms are safe for teens. So we have a lot of restrictions on teen accounts. We've given parents control on what should the screen time be for social media, etc., irrespective of laws being there or not being there. So I think we make sure that the content is safe, and what gets served to them is safe. And equally, as I said, to make sure that parents feel that they have control at all points of time. So I think it's very difficult for me to comment or speculate on what the law or regulation will be. But I guess that's proactively, as I said, as a responsible technology player, we want to make sure that we serve responsible content to all our audiences all the time.
Thank you so much, Arun. Thanks for joining us for this wonderful conversation, and all the best for the next 6 months.
Yeah, thank you so much.